This is iHeart Communities. I'm your host, Jade Harrell, keeping you connected to our community. Well, March is National Nutrition Month, and my commitment to you is that we bring the best, brightest, most authentic and genuine people that I know that can share some great information. I've seen their work, I've worked with them, and the evidence is in every area of their lives. I'm speaking in particular about my dear friend, Kierstin Coovert. Hello, Kierstin.
Hello.
Well, this should be your hot season, huh?
This is the hot season.
It is. As spring is coming about and we are looking at new growth and renewal and getting ourselves healthy and well, I'm sure you've found that there are lots of questions on how to do it well.
Absolutely.
Well, you found your work and your passion in this area. Tell our listeners who don't know you like I do a little bit about your background and how you came to be a nutrition expert.
Well, I am a married mother of 4. Woo. And nutrition has been a daily part of my life with raising kids, sure. Obviously. Sure. But about 3.5 years ago, I really tapped into my passion for nutrition. Oh, yeah. And I got certified and became a health coach.
Okay.
And in being a health coach, I get to work with people individually, empowering them around food, their choices, their body, and what really matters to them.
Sure. Well, when it comes to food, when we look at the numbers, people don't seem to feel or have embraced their power with food. It seems that we have become overpowered by food, and not necessarily in the best ways as we look at the stats.
Yeah. As you know, it's a real instant gratification society, and everybody wants to grab what's quick and easy. And what I like to do is work with people to look at their bodies as a finely tuned instrument.
Okay.
And you wouldn't pull your Lamborghini up to a quick trip and go throw in some orange juice in the tank, right?
Right.
So, I want people to look at their bodies like, hey, I'm a Lamborghini or whatever your fast car choice,
Sure, or a fancy car. Well, I love that analogy in a few ways. One, to associate yourself with a fine machine, with a fine piece of work. And I don't know that we've made that connection. So there's a self-concept thing that comes in. But I do believe with the way you approach nutrition and food and being empowered, that we can then align and associate with that. There are a few things that I love that you emphasize, and that is the difference between a primary food and a secondary food. What do you mean by that?
This came from my training with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. Okay. And so primary food is the food which is your career, your spirituality, your relationships, and regular exercise.
Yeah, those are our primary.
Okay, so that's like your primary food.
I never thought of it that way.
Right.
This is what's feeding us.
Yeah, and when you are living fully in those areas, your hunger for life is met in a whole different way.
Your hunger is for life.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so then secondary food is the stuff that we're consuming.
The stuff we're putting in.
We're living a lot of this the other way around.
Right, right. And it's funny because actually you can be putting in kale and broccoli all day long, but if your primary food is not in balance, something's off, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Right. What an epiphany you got. I don't even mean to copy Oprah, but that's an aha for real.
Right.
For me. Now, you said living fully. Speak a little bit more about that and us living fully.
Really having no excuses. Really diving into your life every day. Empowering people around you and enjoying the people around you. Being in discovery. We're humans, and this is just we get to be together and we get to create, and there's just so much to do.
There is a lot to do, but being busy is different than being full.
Yes.
And I love how you describe that with the full expression and openness of our living, that we're experiencing life and not just executing in life.
Right. We're actually choosing things in our life versus being on autopilot.
Yeah.
Seriously, how many times have you been driving down the highway and you're like, what? How did I get here?
I've done that. Absolutely.
And so I really love to work with people on getting present in their life. And, people say they are, and people do exercises to get them there, and it's just really something to continually to build that muscle of being really present in your life.
Well, give us a sneak preview. What does being present look like? When you're being present, describe that for me.
Being present is really being in the essence of life.
What's a moment that you've had?
Gosh.
Share one of yours.
Oh, well, so I have 3 teenagers right now and one 10-year-old. And really, you know, what's really juicy is being in discovery with them in life.
Boy.
You know, and really hearing them and being with them through their experience versus trying to lecture them or discipline them for things they're not even doing, but they're just an exploration. I strive to be present with them in what they're up to.
What they're going
and
through.
what they're going through. Yeah.
I brought that up, not at all that it's off topic, because it is actually nourishing activity that's a part of this nutrition conversation. And you speak on that in how we're committed to ourselves. How is one committed to oneself and their well-being? How do we even get to awareness and the clarity of being committed to oneself?
Yeah. Well, you know, that's something I love to work with people on, is really getting clear with what you want out of your life. We get this one life, this one body, this one chance.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You know, are you going to just let go with the blows of life, or are you going to have a say? And
Do we have a choice?
We do have a choice. And I love to have people really look at their life, look what they want to create. Who do they want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? You know, do they want to be active all their life? Do they want to be chasing their grandkids down the road? What does your quality of life look like? You know, and what do you see with your parents and, you know, other people in your life? And just what do you want to create?
Sure.
And so when we look at commitment, we can make choices in our life today that impact the rest of our life, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what I love to have people do is write down what they're committed to and write down goals, health and wellness goals. And
so I imagine that as a coach, you're in that place, because if it was so easy, we'd already be doing it.
Absolutely. Oh, we all know how to lose weight, right? You exercise more and you eat less, right?
That's what they
But it's
say.
the actions.
It
It's the
baffles.
actions, taking actions in your life and having accountabilities. And, you know, like I said, just put it down. What are you committed to? Post it everywhere. Share it with people. Have people hold you to that.
That
Hold
means
you.
I'd open up and let them know that I'm trying to do something.
That's all right.
Oh,
That's
my
powerful.
goodness.
9 times out of 10, someone's going to speak up and say, I want to do it too.
I want to do it too, and I want to help you.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, then take us a couple of steps back to picking up the pencil or pen, and then that piece of paper. If I'm staring at it and drawing a blank when you ask that question, what do I want? How do we get started? How do you help?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I do a health history. So we look at what the individual's gone through in their life, and then also hereditarily what, their father, their mother, any disease or anything that they have concerns about, you know? And so we get to open up what the fears are. And really often when looking at what your fears are, that's where you have an opportunity to shift something. And in making a commitment to planning your meals or, you know, and cleaning out your pantry and creating education around the foods that fuel our body. You know, when we look at those type of commitments, it starts flowing.
Sure.
Like,
So if I start with 0, but if you can get me to the first word or two, more will start to come out.
And, you know, and then a lot of times it starts with women, my female clients, it usually starts around weight, something around weight, right?
Of course.
And so I work with people on that, and I don't do diets, but it's lifestyle. So it's like slowly changing things in their life, or not even altering things in their life to have them meet that goal, but also having them discover along the way the beauty that comes from, you know, how good you can feel.
You know,
we switch it up.
Yeah, we can see it as an anguish, as a real challenge.
Oh yeah,
and
we're so hard on ourselves.
That's it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You mentioned about cleaning out the pantry or being committed to packing your own lunch. Establishing that and staying with it, I imagine, is challenging for any other person as it is for me. What is how to stick to remain in that commitment guide and advice.
Yeah. So look at the times you have done it. Right?
No,
but how did you feel about yourself?
Yeah.
Like right?
Yeah.
So look at that as a reward. Like, I want to feel not only amazing in my own skin because I feel like I'm making good choices, but I want to feel like I'm choosing in my life, right? And part of that is, planning it out, taking the time, because guess what? You're worth it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's worth you taking the time on a Sunday afternoon to just look at the week. Look at what your challenges are in your time crunches. Yeah. Where can you have, healthy snacks set up? Yeah. Where can you have food pre-prepared? Where can you have contribution? Other people kicking in, helping out. Yeah, right?
I can't imagine.
Right? That's another thing. We don't have to do it all on our own.
That's it. That's it. So my listeners can't see, but I can describe that before me is a vibrant, beautiful woman who looks amazing in her skin, but who also walks exactly what she's talking. You can tell she's empowered. She's enjoying life, and it's contagious. I absolutely love the energy that you share with the rest of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That has a lot to do with, and you're a testament that this is what we're putting into our body. So there's an invitation that you put out for the rest of us. And talk about that invitation to be in the inquiry of what's in the food that we're putting in our body.
Yeah. Well, I like to invite people to become, a health detective, an ingredient like detective. Read the labels, or if buy foods that don't have labels. That old French saying of they shop around the outside of the market, like where the produce and the meat and the bread are. Eating from the land, and but. If we are going to buy packaged food, on occasion, especially, on the go. But looking at what you're getting, and it's great. The way things are labeled now, we get a lot of information. Okay. That's fabulous. So I invite people to be an ingredient detective.
I love that term. I love that term. So what should we be sneaking out? You mentioned maybe not even have labels. What about the things that we should be leery of?
Yeah. Well,
be careful of.
I love to have people take it in small paces. Like, I don't want someone who's, eating a standard American diet, to think working with me or, looking at that means 360 immediately. It's a slow, gradual change. But what I like to eventually get people to is looking at eating organic foods, eating foods without the pesticides, and eating foods that are not shot full of hormones, eating foods that are, not processed. There's just so much out there in our food supply. And I love that saying about kind of looking back 100 years at what our ancestors were eating, and there wasn't the magnitude of disease and cancer and illness and even, ADHD, and there's just all these common things that are such a part of our daily life now that are being linked to the foods we're eating.
Absolutely.
And I'm not here to point the finger at anyone or make anyone feel bad, because it's really all just about education. And once you get it, or like you said, have your aha moment, all of a sudden you're like, I get that. Okay, what do I want to put in my body? That's right. And I love to ask a lot of questions. Like, I go through my day asking myself questions all the time. I'm like, okay, I have a choice. Do I want, that turkey meat, or do I want a cupcake? And okay, well,
tough call.
That's kind of a silly option, but it's like, the clean protein will serve my body and empower me to take on my next couple of hours. And great, it would be good to pair that with some vegetables and different things. But, and then, the cupcake might taste good for that moment.
It would.
But I'm going to feel crappy later.
Yeah, well, in a lot of ways.
I
think you really you shifted my paradigm with primary food versus secondary food, and I hope the same for others. You did mention cancer, and I just want to mention that you work with cancer treatment and what kinds of food, not necessarily cancer treatment, but people who have been diagnosed with cancer as a part of the nutrition education that you provide. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. Well, a couple years ago, I had been involved in raising money for a local organization, and I realized, all the money raised goes towards cancer research, which is fabulous. And when someone is diagnosed with cancer, they go to their doctor and they say, well, should I change my eating habits? What should I do? And they're not getting the direction. And unfortunately, our doctors aren't necessarily trained in nutrition, and they don't really have a space to say that, right? So what I did, I said, well, what can I do about it? Right? It's about taking action. So I worked with some awesome partners and created a brochure called Heal with Food. And it is 10 powerful ways for you to improve your prognosis, feel better, and take charge of your wellness.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's just some simple ways. And so these brochures are, out and about there in different wellness centers, doctors' offices. I can send you one if you want one.
I'd like to share it on our website and make sure that folks can get this great list of 10, because if it's also things that help with and improve your prognosis, if you've been diagnosed with cancer, it can definitely be a help and resource for us if you haven't.
Right, absolutely. Well, that's the whole point of it. Like, it's also out there because we don't want cancer, right?
Exactly.
So,
I love this.
And
it's a great, when we're talking about getting started, this is a great way to kind of get your mind around. Just get educated about the ways, and again, that key word, being empowered and powerful ways to take charge of your wellness. Where can folks find this if they wanted to locate this brochure as well, get more support and resources that you're aware of and can share with us?
Well, they can go to my website, which is VibrantYou.com. And my email is available on there. I can send it to anyone.
Well, let's do that too. Yes, you can send them. If you all send Kierstin a note that you heard her here on iHeart Communities, she can send you this brochure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's the email they should use?
Yeah, the email is VibrantYouSTL@gmail.com.
VibrantYouSTL@gmail.com for the Heal with Food, Fuel Your Recovery, 10 Powerful Ways to Improve Your Prognosis. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's free.
And it's free. Yeah. Give us one more boost of encouragement for National Nutrition Month.
Yeah,
doing our best.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. I want people out there just embracing their uniqueness and loving the skin they're in, and just always being in discovery for your best self.
I love it, my friend. Kierstin Coovert with Vibrant You STL, and National Nutrition Month has just gotten a little bit more nutritious with your contribution. I thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's it for this week. If you have questions or comments or have something you'd like to include in the community calendar, you can leave a message on our message box at 314-333-8369, 314-333-8369. And for more information about our show or any of our guests, you can visit us online and listen to the podcasts at Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com. Just search iHeart Communities with Jade Harrell. You all be blessed, do blessed, and take care.